You're live.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the April meeting of the Board of Regents Committee on Academic and Student Affairs. The meeting is hereby called to order. May I ask the secretary to call the roll, please?
Thank you. Regent Bloom?
Present.
Regent Porth?
Present.
Regent James? Absence is noted, but she may be joining us later. And I would like to take a moment to recognize our ex officio member, Professor Sasenker, and we have a quorum.
Thank you very much, Ms. Davis. First item of business is the approval of the minutes of March 7th, 2025. May I have a motion to recommend approval of the minutes?
So moved.
Second. Any comments about the minutes? All in favor of approval of the minutes?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Minutes are approved. Do we have Provost Costellas here?
Not yet. If you want to go out of order, we can go back to her.
Okay. With the permission of the committee, then I will move to item 4, Western. Is Provost Haggadas here?
Yes, he is. He just joined.
Okay.
Provost
Good morning,
Haggadas.
I'm sorry. Good morning, Provost Haggadas.
Good morning. Sorry, I had problems getting into this room. My apologies.
You've become the first item of business.
Okay.
Sorry, I had a hard time getting in too as well. I'm here, but I'm happy to have Western go first.
I appreciate that. Just give me 1 minute.
Yes.
I'm on the other campus because we have our employee recognition event today, which I have to go to straight after. So, all right. Thank you. Good morning, everyone.
So we have your academic update to start.
Yes. Yep. Thank you. So a few updates. We are doing well with our undergraduate applications at this time. They're up 8 or 9% ahead of last year, which is early good news. And similarly with our graduate applications, though it's early days, our summer classes are up probably double the applications next year as part of our reconfiguration and strategic focus on that area. And there's also been quite an uptick in our international applications as well. So I think that all ties in with our prioritization here. The census 2025 census data shows an increase overall year to year of just over 10% in our enrollments this semester, which I understand is highest in the system. And this has been due to several factors. Transfer program, financial aid, redistribution, changes in our academic probation suspension policy, which was approved last year by Senate, and a focus on dual and concurrent enrollment. So things are looking pretty good, pretty stable in the enrollment area. And our admitted student day is on April 12th, in just over a week's time. And there are various virtual open houses for graduate students in progress. With regards to our NECHI work progress for our focused evaluation report that is presently being compiled, we are now restructured it. Regent Bloom, if you remember, the other report was structured under the various standards. There were 3 standards. Now we're focusing it under, and it's a lot easier to read, under just the 7 areas of emphasis. They prefer to call them areas of emphasis, not areas of concern, and those are our focus areas. So we've restructured it. There's a lot of work that has gone into that, and we are in the process of collecting and compiling, rather, all the various data and evidence. So we should be, later next month, should have a draft to share, if not early June. This is due at the end of July, start of August. So work continues there. The major piece that's in progress is our 5-year financial sustainability plan. That's a piece of work that all of our institutions are engaged in, but it's timely that it fits also in one of the areas that we need to focus on for NECI with regards to a multi-year, as they call it, a multi-year financial plan. And with that, there are complementary areas through the support of the Regents, the Board of Regents, and the System Office, as was highlighted. So that's an ongoing work there. To that aim, there are town halls being conducted next week and the week after here on campus. One of them is on our HR master hiring plan, and the second one is on the budget and the 5-year sustainability plan. Those are 2 separate town halls that have been called for the community for open dialogue and discussion, and that I think that's going to be really beneficial, particularly in respect to communication and sharing and shared governance. We continue to look at reconfiguring some of our programs, one of which we present to you today, which really focuses on creating flexible options and concentrations more aligned with our students' needs and the workforce needs as well. Finally, just thinking we won't meet until these events will have been done by then. Our honors convocation is April 24th this year, and this year we're celebrating all the schools into one ceremony, and where we'll also be recognizing our Barnard awardees and the Provost Student Award for Academic Excellence and Resiliency, which we're looking forward to. This morning, later on, I might have to step away a little earlier. We have our employee recognition event here, and it's a really great event. We have actually 4 employees, faculty and staff who have served at Westcon for 30+ years. And there are many more who have been here for 10 and 20+ years. So we recognize and celebrate them at this time each year, and that's a little later this morning. So I'm looking forward to that. Those are my campus updates for Western Connecticut State University. And if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
Thank you. I have one question based on reports I've seen in the last week or so. Do you see any weakening from the international student group? I mean, because of what's going on in Washington?
I mean, we're cautious. It's really hard to tell because, I mean, we have applicants, but then do they get their visas, right? And so that's the next step. So we can offer the letters and help with the visa, but it's really at that point in time. So I imagine we've seen an interest, but how that converts, I think all of us are, watching that space. But we're doing what we can to support them.
Here is welcome to Regent James.
Good morning. Sorry I'm late.
Good morning. Happy to have you. We have accomplished the approval of the minutes. That's fine. So, to bring you up to date.
Thank you.
And we started with Western because Provost Costellas was a little late, so we have begun with Western where we are now. So Provost Hagedorn was just finishing his report.
I was able to hear his report. Thank you very much.
Ira, this is Rick. Ira, I do
Yes,
have a
please.
quick question. I appreciate the report. It's encouraging in terms of the enrollment. And I also appreciate that the report to NECI will be ready a month or so ahead of its due date. How will that be reviewed through the Board of Regents?
Yeah, thank you for that question. I'm trying to give us a buffer of time for that very purpose. And so that gives us, if we need to, that extra month to review and refine and strengthen that report. It's really the data capturing, which, whilst we're still in the academic year, that's a priority for me to be sure we've got everything in one place. So my goal is to have as promised, a draft. It won't be complete in terms of having everything in one place, and I think the budget is the main piece that may take some extra time in terms of consolidating our plan and how it fits in with all the other negotiations that are occurring. But that will be shared with Senate at the last Senate meeting in May. And the community and the constituents here. And at the same time, I would say probably in June, I can discuss this with Regent Bloom or with the Chancellor, what is the best mechanism to share that, probably I would say in the middle of June, and also other colleagues, so some of them on the call here will also be able to look at that and to offer a critical eye. So that's a ballpark, but I would hope to share that, and probably it would be electronically because, well, it will be electronically, but those days are gone, with piles and piles of paper going off to NECI. But they want one file, PDF file, and that with the evidence, it may become a little unwieldy, but they're also open to having, similar to the self-study, the full report, having those evidence files supplied in through a separate way of transfer. But I think if you're looking at the overall report, that will be, I can share that as one PDF sometime in June.
I'll just say thank you. I'll leave it to Ira and to our board and system leadership as to how it gets reviewed. But this is one of the most important issues we're dealing with now, and I want to make sure there is an opportunity for us or other leaders in the system to have a chance to review this before it's officially submitted. Thanks.
I really appreciate that, Regent Porth, and thank you for your support.
Thank you. No, we will. I would hope that we would have a chance to convene the ASA committee to look at it as it progresses forward. So even if it involves a special meeting, which I hope my colleagues would be willing to put up with, and so we can actually. Because I agree, Regent Porth, with what this is probably the most important step we have regarding Western at this point, although there are obviously other important steps as well.
I appreciate that, and I think that's part of that is that support and help is part of the report. So it's necessary, that was highlighted to have both in terms of the review, but also in terms of the finances and the budget and the sustainability of Westcon going forward, and the support of the board and the regents. So that is part of the work as well. So I think it may be a two-step thing in terms of looking at an early draft, then seeing what needs to be done, and then folding that in. And I see that probably as work in June, early July, and then getting that wrapped up. But we've been discussing this with the Chancellor as well, what the best course of action is. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We have a modification from Western involving the Bachelor of Music Performance.
Yes, thank you.
I'm sorry. Provost Hagadas, you want to move ahead with that then?
I would be happy to. Thank you, Regent Bloom. This is a really exciting new development. There's been a lot of work done by the faculty and the dean, Dean Vernon joins me today, I believe. Yes, I can see Brian. Thank you, Brian. And the chair of the music department, Laurel Larson. This work has been taken on for some time now to reconfigure an already successful Bachelor's of Music degree, but BM degree in music, that had 4 options. And three of those options around performance have been reconfigured into one, in able to offer and enhance more the program for more students who they might be specialized in one area. And so that new option will be alongside the other existing audio and music production option. So the degree will essentially have 2 tracks, and that the audio and music production is also here as a below threshold because it was below the number of credits. So it's sort of a package that we're bringing this forward. But for me, it will stabilize the enrollments in an existing program. We have almost 80 students in the program, and even enhance enrollments going forward in the future. And one important thing, and Dr. Larson may be able to get into the specifics, we may be even saving money because there'll be less courses needed because of the reduction of several options into one, which really broadens the scope for students who may be not looking for a conservatory-like experience as much as a broader experience, and then entering into a career in performance and other venues. So I am really very excited to bring this forward. I will now pass it to Dean Vernon and our chair, Dr. Larson, for further presentation. Thank you.
Very good, thank you. I apologize, my camera is having a life of its own. It's going on and off.
But we can see you and hear you, so.
Oh, very good. Okay, I can't see myself. It appears to have a life of its own. Thank you, Dr. Hegedus. I think that he summarized it very well. We're going from 4 options down to 2, and it does save money, right? There's less options, less faculty, spread out across the higher 4 options. And we're essentially here to answer, Dr. Larson and I are essentially here to answer any questions for you.
Questions from the regents? Can I gather, if I may restate this in a way, we will have a core now and several options going off the core for the students. Is that one program with several options?
Well, two options.
2. Okay. What is it? If I were a practicing musician, okay, which I am not, so I don't want to make any pretension to being one. I had in a former life oversight of a similar kind of program where the practicing musicians were able to earn a degree if they wanted a more stable life as teachers, as opposed to is that available under this? In other words, somebody who's coming in wants to come in as a practicing musician and then move, get a degree in.
So that I'm going to ask Dr. Larson to join me, but that's actually a different degree. So we have a Bachelor of Science in Music Education.
Okay.
Okay.
Good morning, everybody. Thanks so much for considering this change to our degrees. There is a pedagogy component to the performance degree. There was not previously a pedagogy component for all 3 of the other options. It was only in the jazz pedagogy. There was a jazz pedagogy component to the jazz performance degree, but now there is a pedagogy option for everybody, or pedagogy requirement, I should say. One of the things we've done is just combined populations of students into similar classes. So the pedagogy component is housed within music education. So the performance majors would take the appropriate workshop for their instrument to have a pedagogy component. But pretty much every freelance musician teaches. It's just a part of the lifestyle, right? We all teach private lessons. The music education degree, of course, is for students who want to be certified to teach in the public school.
Yes.
But we have many students who get either an audio degree or a performance degree and then get jobs at private schools or teach at music studios. We have a recent graduate, Katie Main, who earned the Dean's Award a couple years ago, and she is on the faculty at the Kent School, working in the recording studio. So she is using her audio degree, but she's also using the percussion training that she got to teach percussion lessons and things like that. So we do have students in the other Bachelor of Music degrees who also teach just not in the public schools because that's what the music ed degree is for.
Yes. Okay.
We try to prepare the total musician, and we also added an entrepreneurship, arts entrepreneurship course, because you have to have that business component, right? You have to have a little bit of marketing. And Dr. Haynes develops and teaches that course. And I've had students sit in my office and say, that's the best course I ever took. So we try to prepare them so they're ready for the realities of being a freelance musician, where you need to be able to play in all genres whenever someone's willing to pay you to play.
Whatever the venue, I take it.
Yes.
Yes.
If I may add as well, I mean, we have this degree, the music ed, we have a BA in music and a BA in popular music. So we have a suite of music degrees, and there's some overlap, but it really demonstrates the strength and diversity of our faculty in this department. I mean, this I think is a very strong program. We also, I think it was about this time last year, you approved the Masters of Music and the reconfiguration there with an option in jazz pedagogy as well. So that will support two general populations as well in performance and in teaching. So this will also fit nicely for those students, those graduates pursuing those careers. So I think it all ties together very nicely. And the entrepreneurship, I think, is really smart, and it actually ties in a little bit to the other below threshold item later in the agenda about having a minor in entrepreneurship that can meet lots of different students' needs as well.
And I take it you have the facilities. I mean, that's probably we should probably mention that for the record for music performance.
Mm-hmm. We've got a lot of strengths in that area, as you may well know.
Yes, I mean, but I think that's worth.
Yeah, it is. It's a real jewel in the crown. Yeah, there's some great facilities. Could always do more, but yeah.
Well, we always want to be reaching. So, any other comments from the regents about this program?
I have a question, and that is, what are you seeing in terms of the trends of student enrollment and participation in these courses? And do you see things changing or anticipate in the current environment? What changes are you anticipating?
I think this is going to boost enrollment. And the reason is because, as it was noted in the last meeting that I attended, our old performance degree was antiquated and very much a conservatory degree, which is also antiquated. I have two of those, and they are antiquated. I had training in how to be a concert pianist. I was never going to be a concert pianist, right? Very few of my classmates are concert pianists, but that was what the training was geared towards. So this is going to enhance enrollment because we now have a unique take on the performance degree. It's much more practical. And I've already had students come in to auditions, and as we explain to them that this is the direction we're moving, they're like, oh, I'm so excited. I can perform in a pop and rock ensemble and also sing in opera ensemble and also sing in vocal jazz ensemble. I've spoken to singers because I play piano for the auditions when they come in. But this is the feedback we're getting, is a lot of enthusiasm. In previous years, if I was at Accepted Students Day and a parent said, well, how do you differ from a conservatory? I mean, the degree didn't differ, but we're not a conservatory. So you don't get the name of a conservatory, but you get a curriculum that's the same. So now we have a unique take that's really going to appeal to students who have broader interests and also leave them more prepared when they get out into the world. I remember graduating with my bachelor's degree and then starting to work and thinking, okay, how do I do Excel? Things like that you need to know in order to successfully support yourself as a working musician. Were not covered in my degrees. So that's what we're trying to do, is really better prepare students, and then communicating that to our families, who tend to be much more practical families. That's very appealing for a parent to hear that there's an entrepreneurship and pedagogy component to the degree. And I say that as the mother of a senior in high school too. Okay, so I do know what they're hoping to hear, and it's what we want for our students.
This is a conversation, I just wanted to say very briefly, this is a conversation that I have with chairs in the school all of the time, how to stay current, how to modernize, how to stay relevant, right? And this is a part of that conversation. This result is a part of that conversation.
Okay.
And
Thank you.
may I-
As a 30-year member of the Stanford Symphony, I am glad that you're doing this. I would love to see the pendulum start swinging toward more interest again in classical and traditional music venues, because I do think that it's I watch our musicians, and it's getting to be a rather more senior and seasoned group, and I'd love to see a rise in the interest of current and future generations of musicians. So, but I absolutely appreciate your the thinking and the thought behind these changes, and agree with your assessment that it does make it more appealing to and more relevant to a larger potential student population.
May I just one
Sure.
last comment, if I may, Regent Bloom, to thank you, Regent James. It's a really important question for all, looking at all of our programs, and I appreciate Dean Werner's reply, because we are, all of the deans and I, are engaged in looking very carefully at that question, as we see declines in undergraduate enrollment historically has started. We're into a little bit of a bubble period, but we need to be looking forward into the next 5-10 years of trying to either stabilize that, and that means reconfiguring, rethinking, and aligning it with our students' needs. So you've seen a few of these reconfigurations come forward from WestCon. You may see a couple more. And I think that's part of our overarching strategic goal, to put some stability to our enrollments. And so if we keep with that, or we increase it slightly as we've put in our projections, that would be good. That would be a good outcome.
Thank you. May I have a motion to approve the modification, item 4B1 on the
So moved.
agenda?
So moved.
Second.
And I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion is passed. The record will move forward to the full Board of Regents.
Thank
So,
you.
Thank you. Do you want to say something briefly, Provost Hagedorn, about the entrepreneurship for non-business majors, which is below threshold, as you noted?
It is, and again, I think that it's come forward from the various departments as well within the business school to support non-business majors, as outlined, who are interested in the area of entrepreneurship. It's not just owned by business, but there are several majors, several students who are interested in this area. Dr. Larson just mentioned that the course within the new program, the reconfigured program, students are looking for courses in that area. May not be a major, but it's essentially it's meeting some demand and offering that minor for all non-business majors.
Thank you. Provost Hagedorn, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Regents.
We're going to go back to Central. Provost Costellas, are you still with us?
Yes, I am still here.
Okay, welcome.
Thank you.
Do you want to present your academic update?
Sure. And I'll just reiterate that apologies that I was a few minutes late trying to log on. I was actually coming from a Banking of Excellence certificate launch that was recently passed here, and we launched it today with 43 banking partners are here on campus all day to not only launch it, but continue to develop the partnerships and the internship pathways for the students who are going to be doing the internship. But then we're also talking about ways to continue to expand and meet the needs of our partners, and talking about some fintech pathways as well. So the Commissioner of Banking's here, along with the 43 partners that I mentioned too. So I'll just put a plug in there, and also why I ran back over here to log on and had some trouble logging on. So, but some other updates I'll just mention too. Our first time full-time undergraduate applications are up 14%. Our deposits are also up 119% from last year. And we are preparing to be, we're already communicating with those who have deposited, and they will actually start enrolling on April 21st. Today's the first day our fall registration opens up for priority registration and graduate registration as well. So we're entering that season as well. We're also excited that our transfer applications are up 5% and our deposits are up 44%. And I'd also like to put a plug in for that we have established a division underneath I should say more of a team underneath our registrar's office for transfer student services, and has been great to be able to partner, not only helping with the onboarding process, but also at the time of application, because we have partnered with our admissions office. And in this transfer student services, they do the transcript evaluation before they even do the acceptance packet. So it's part of the package. We had done this previously before, but it was an admissions counselor that would do that, and then they would get it redone when they did the onboarding process with the advising process. Now we've eliminated that two-step process to make it more efficient and also consistent and accurate by doing that one time with our advising and our registers and the transfer student services, so that it's more accurate and there's an easier onboarding process as well. So we're hoping that those transfer numbers will only increase as well. Also, our grad applications are up 33% and our deposits are up 53% as well. And just as another plug, that our Masters in Social Work program that was confirmed or approved late at the end of last year, we onboarded a cohort of 32 this last fall with little to no marketing time. And this year, I know the last time I heard, which could have even increased by now, but we had 45 students who had already confirmed and more who had also been accepted. So we're thankful that a lot of our programs are aligning to help contribute to the increases as well. I'll also just mention, since we have 3 more accelerated pathways that are below threshold, but just as an aside, we're continuing to look at expanding those pathways. And we have more than a dozen pathways. And I say we've sort of termed pathways because it got so comprehensive and almost repetitive. So for example, our pathway to the MBA, we have 8 different pathways that can accelerate into the MBA. Our 7 from our business undergraduate programs can accelerate into the MBA, but then also our physics into the MBA. So we're trying to rebrand them into, the Accelerate Central pathways towards the graduate degree and in less time as well. We've had 45 students already complete accelerated programs as well. We have 44 current undergraduate students that have applied for and are in the pathway, but they're still undergraduate students. And we have 72 students that are already graduated and they are finishing up their graduate degrees via the accelerated program. So, and expect some of those numbers to only increase as well. So it's a great option and pathway for our students that we're trying to make sure that we market out as well.
Thank you. Do you want to say a few words? You touched on this during your just now, but Accelerate Central seems to be a key component of what you're doing. Do you want to talk a bit about that? You did now, but to focus particularly on that.
Sure. So as a little bit of a background, they can apply for the graduate program during their undergraduate basically ideally in their junior year, so that during their senior year, it's sort of that overlap. That's that kind of accelerated degree pathway where they're still an undergraduate student, but they're able to start working on their graduate coursework. In order to apply in that, there are higher admission standards than somebody who is applying directly into the graduate program. They have to have a 3.3 undergraduate GPA to be able to apply into the accelerated program. And it allows, again, that double counting. And so that you're also during that final year where you're starting to work on your graduate degree, you're still considered an undergraduate student. So therefore you're paying undergraduate tuition. So it is saving the students money as well as time. But it is a higher standard that they have to maintain to even apply into the program, a 3.3 versus the 2.7 that we see in a lot of the other programs. And in order to continue on, they have to maintain a 3.0 in their graduate coursework as well.
And how do you fit in transfers from CT State into this model?
So those would, again, they would probably be case by case, but I feel that that framework with the general education definitely helps with making sure that that pathway is still available to our transfer students. Since they're applying in their junior year, they would need to be on track to be able to maintain that 4-year, that 2 and 2. And then in that first year that they would be here, they could apply into the Accelerate Central program as well.
Any questions on this aspect from the regents? No. Okay. You have a modification, biological science, Master of Science in Arts.
Yes. So if you look at this, it looks more complicated than I think it really is. Right now in the VOT system, the MA and the MS have the same zip code. So this is removing that MA option and just having the MS in biological sciences. So essentially on, reporting side, there's really no change in that. This program was established, many years ago, and was sort of under the approach of having the different degrees for the different tracks as far as those who are within education that are obtaining their master's degree, those who wanted more of the biology that would prepare them for a PhD program. And so this is one of the last degree programs that is transitioning to that 1 degree. And again, it's the same zip code. In behind the scenes, also some of the tracks that are available to our students, one of which I just brought forward the last time as well. Those are tracks underneath as options, but the degree completion only counts in that 1 degree. So there are 4 different tracks that the students can go into. But at the end of the day, the degree completions have been pretty steady with 5 or more on average. I will also mention that this is not a cohorted master's program. So when we were preparing the reports last fall, the active students who were enrolled in the fall, last fall was 17, this fall was 9. This last spring there was 12, this spring there's 12. I will say, to give you a snapshot, we have 27 active MS biology students right now, but 12 of them are registered. And then, like previously, there was 9 registered in the fall. And that's pretty common for the students, the graduate students that we serve, especially in programs like this, because it's not a cohorted program. They're doing it part-time in most cases, and they're doing it as their schedule allows, or other variables that impact when they're taking the courses. So the enrollment numbers, may look alarming from 17 to 9,
They did look
but
a little.
overall, the numbers are active students are very, are consistent. And also this spring was the same as last spring. So we have 12 students enrolled this spring, and we had 12 students enrolled last spring. So hopefully that's not a concern once we dig down into some of the reasons behind that, because those numbers are for enrolled students as opposed to active students. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Questions from the regents? I'd like to ask you the same question I asked Provost Hagadas, just for clarification. If I'm interested in teaching biology, in other words, I want the advanced degree for, how does this fit into the program?
So if you're already teaching and you already are certified, then you can continue on to get your master's degree to meet the continued requirements through the State Department of Education. Yeah. If you are trying to come back to become a science teacher after your undergraduate degree, this would not necessarily be the pathway for you, as it does not lead to initial certification. We have our master's in arts and teaching that has the initial certification for science. So we would be in partnership with the same faculty within this department through our MAT program.
Questions or comments from the regents? May I have a motion then to approve the item 3B1, biological science, Master of Science?
So moved.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Program is approved. Provost Costello.
Thank
Would
you.
you like to say? Would you like to say something about the 3 below threshold items?
I don't have to go into detail unless there's questions, but these are another 3 examples of that we're adding, pathway options for that accelerated central into the degree programs now. That's there's so many different options and pathways for our students in the cybersecurity, computer information technology, software engineering, all of the different possible options that the student might want to take, or depending on their background that they have to get into the advanced degree. So just providing more options for our students.
Have you had any difficulty recruiting faculty in this area to teach in the cyber area?
Yes. We had one failed search last year. However, this year I'm excited to say that we were able to be successful in all our open searches with cybersecurity as well as AI. So this year, no, and I cautiously say no because there's still time before the fall semester. And you never know nowadays because it is so competitive landscape for faculty in those areas. But we've tried to be as creative as possible in supporting those positions, and also advertising it at the assistant and associate level so that we can attract those who have the experience or comparable standards and able to hire them at an appropriate level as well.
Comments from the regents on any of this?
Okay. That sounds good.
I'm sorry?
No question. It sounds good.
Okay. These are below threshold. They don't, therefore, does not require a vote. Provost Costello, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Charter Oak, Provost Farrar, are you still here?
Yep, I'm here. Good morning and happy Friday.
Thank you. Same to you. Would you like to talk your academic update?
Yeah.
From Charter Oak?
Yep. So let's have a couple of brief updates for you. First, obviously, we'll talk about our spring enrollment. Just as a reminder for the board is that Charter Oak is a little bit unique in that we have our 6 start dates. So our census for spring semester doesn't happen until after the start of our term 2, because we do 2 8-week terms for the spring. So definitely very much pleased to report for now that the census is in, our headcount is up 15.5% compared to last year, and our FTE is up 16.7% compared to last year. Overall, and that was in addition to the nice gain we had the year before. So our FTE actually compared to 2 years ago is up about 31.4%. So we're incredibly pleased with that. We puts us in a really good position as the ARPA dollars go away. We're able to kind of mitigate those losses with the increase in our revenue from our tuition and fees. In particular, we did take a look at areas that were particularly strong this year. Our public safety administration and criminal justice degrees have been pretty strong. For a reminder to the board, we did actually add an EMS leadership concentration within public safety administration, and so that's really helping with that boost there. In fact, just talked to a major hospital earlier this week about an articulation agreement. So we're going to continue to see those things in regards to getting paramedics as they look to upskill, because you don't see a lot of paramedics who tend to be in their 50s and 60s. It's a very grueling job, and they tend to seek out baccalaureate degrees so they can go into management. Early childhood education has also been doing very, very strong this year. And again, thank you to the board about the School of Ed. We'll continue to see some growth there. Our BSW in social work is incredibly strong as well, continuing to see growth. It's just ending its second year, and already there's 159 students in that program, and we have a very nice pipeline coming in already early on for fall. So it's doing well. Our BSN, our online BSN degree is also particularly strong this year. Obviously, having the Health Horizons grant has been a really good boost for that program there, and our healthcare programs are doing quite strong. Areas of improvement that we're going to be looking at kind of moving forward, our graduate programs, we're going to look to try to get a little more concentration to. Obviously nationwide, the online graduate marketplace continues to be uber competitive as more and more colleges and as more and more universities add more online graduate programs. So we're seeing that competition. And again, thank you to the board for having us do the Masters in Curriculum Instruction that will launch in fall of 25. That's going to help us, I think, with being able to grow our online graduate offerings. And then the next update for you is our Strategic Enrollment Management Committee is well underway with we're going to have an updated Strategic Enrollment Management Plan by the end of the spring semester. And so we're really excited about that. We have a really great groundswell of participation at the college for this. We have about 30 members of our college community that are members of this group. We have 5 areas in particular that we're going to be focusing on. And so we'll be glad to present that Strategic Enrollment Management Plan upon its conclusion at the end of the spring semester. So again, while we've been doing very well over the past 2 years in our enrollment, we're not resting on our laurels. We're looking at what is the next phase of this growth.
Any questions on this aspect from the regents? We have the below threshold cancer registration management certificate. Do you want to say anything about that?
Yep. I'll make brief comments. And I know actually I have one of our program directors, Cindy Edgerton, here to briefly speak on it. But there's a small change in the curriculum piece, and just for an update for the regions, we did actually just make a slight tweak to the admissions component. What we're trying to do is balance between the accreditor doesn't require the associate's degree anymore as a prerequisite. So we were going to try to drop that as a prerequisite as well. But at the same time, it's tough to kind of track that when you're because there is a certain credit threshold for admissions into a program. So we tried to make a balance where we'll keep the associate's degree, but put in a credit area to say still work and apply to the program, so that we don't reject anybody who could or should be entering the program. But Cindy, I'll turn on over to you to speak on that a little bit more for the regions.
Yeah, we just really want to eliminate any hurdles that might be there for anyone interested in the program. So originally had wanted to reduce the admission requirement to 27 credits. But as Dave said, we found there was inefficiencies with that and difficulties with doing that. And so leaving it at the associate degree with the kind of explainer after that we still encourage them to apply, and that the program director will have will review each applicant. And so we'll kind of just look at each applicant as on an individual basis. Like Dave said, trying to find the happy medium between making sure that they graduate able to sit for the ODS exam. That is the main goal, with all of the other things that are part of the admission process. So we just tweaked that a little bit and hoping that makes sense to everyone.
You also tweaked the curriculum a bit with more emphasis, I gather, on digital.
Yep, just changing one course, swapping it out for what we think is a much better fit for the course. At the time when we developed the program, the HLT 225 was not part of our curriculum, or was not part of the catalog at Charter Oak. And since then we developed that course, and it's a much better fit. So we're just doing that to make it a better course for those students.
Yeah, and that course is involving also we talk about AI tools in healthcare. So we try to and also that would meet also a gen ed requirement, our digital literacy new gen ed requirement at Charter Oak. So for any students who wish to then pursue the baccalaureate degree, it will actually be an easier stackable component into our bachelor's degree.
Yes.
And I assume with what I've been at, you also have to kind of monitor the AI results on some of this to make sure that your AI program isn't hallucinating or doing something strange with
We actually had a meeting earlier this week, actually, with some of the folks from in the healthcare industry, in particular with health information management, to talk about the advancements in artificial intelligence, in particular in this area, to really make sure that we are keeping ahead. The question we asked was, what do you need of our graduates in 2 to 3 years? Because we're teaching them now. And one is obviously these skill sets, these tools, the data privacy and protection, the things that are going to be covered in that new course that we added, but also the big feedback and the big component and things we'll really be emphasizing with the students. I always give the example, prompt engineering is a skill today. Yeah. Prompt engineering will not be a skill in 2 years, because no matter how bad you prompt, the AI will be smart enough to know what you're trying to talk about, right? The skill set that is going to be transferable in 5 years and 10 years is that students are going to have to be able to critically analyze the output. And that's critical thinking. Yeah. And so that's the human skill that will always surpass. But yes, while we need to know the data privacy and protection, those skill sets that are going to be in that new course, we're going to say, yes, prompt engineering is a skill set today, but we're going to really emphasize the evaluation of the output is where you should spend the most amount of your time.
Any questions or comments? This is below threshold, so any questions or comments from the regents?
No.
No. Okay. Thank you very much to both of you. And good to see you, Provost Farrar, as always.
Thank you.
Thank you. We journey to Southern. Provost Irwin, are you with us?
I am with you. Good morning.
Good morning.
I'll start with
Welcome.
a bit of an update. Yep. So we've increased our deposits for first year transfer and grad at all stages. Our fall 2025 registration for graduate/postbac is up 11%, which we're really pleased about. Yesterday, we had a really nice event on campus presented by the Blue Economy Coalition, which was entitled Accelerating the Blue Economy in Connecticut, Ocean Clusters as Drivers for Local and Regional Economic Development. And if you don't know about this group, it's really interesting. It's actually, the CEO of this group is a former student of ours who's now getting a degree at UConn. And they are essentially monetizing some of these marine products. For example, we can get you some kelp seltzer. I have not tried it myself. Excuse me, this brought OceanX, the Long Island Sound cluster, and members of Senator Murphy's staff were here, and it allowed us to advertise our new master's program in coastal resilience. So thank you to the Regents for helping us with that, and it leverages our location on Long Island Sound. Yesterday was both the Day of Caring, which is a whole university-wide fundraising effort, and individual departments and centers kind of get together and fundraise, and it's a really nice competition. Anthropology is very proud of themselves. And last night was our graduate open house. I'd like to point out that today is Southern's hosting the biennial meeting between CSDE and the deans of education across the state, as well as certification officers from across the state. And tomorrow is our Accepted Students Day, and we have 700 students and 1,900 total guests registered.
Do you want to, we have one item, action item. I'm sorry, before I do, any comments or questions from the Regents?
No, it just
Before we
sounds very exciting. This is
Nobody wants to try the kelp seltzer.
Yes. Okay. I can understand that. Discontinuation. We have a discontinuation which is connected to last month's adventures. So that's item 6B1, Anthropology, Bachelor of Arts.
So I'll very briefly say that the anthropologists discontinued their Bachelor of Arts. They realized most of the students were in Bachelor of Science programming, and that it wouldn't slow students down, and also to reallocate resources for their cultural resource management program, which, as you know, they're extremely excited about, and reported last night that they already have 9 students registered, even though they haven't advertised it yet.
Any comments, questions from the Regents? Can I have a motion to approve the discontinuation of the Anthropology Bachelor of Arts, item 6B1 on the agenda?
so moved.
Second.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Program is discontinued. Recommendation will go to the full board. Do you want to talk about the modification, which is below the modification on bilingual education program?
Yes, so I wondered if there were questions about that. I have responded back about the kind of the general approach for communication disorders and multilingual children. I wondered if I could clear up any questions about that.
Regent James?
No, I didn't have any questions.
This is the communication disorders that I take it are especially a problem for bilingual students. Is that what we're saying? Or that are unique to?
So actually, the response that I got from the chair of the department suggests that that they are now able to leverage multilingual communication for all communication disorders, if that makes sense, right? So they now have, if whatever it is that you might be having difficulty with, they are now able to do this for multilingual speakers. So not that it's specific only to those that are bilingual.
Questions or comments about 6C1? Not. Motion to approve item modification bilingual extensions at graduate certificate 6C1 on the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Second. All in
Second.
favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Opposed? Abstentions? Approved. Your next item is the MAT in Teaching 8 programs, Master of Arts in Teaching, name change to the 8 programs.
I actually have our interim Dean Trombley here on the call, and I thought that he could very briefly explain to you the kind of the big chunk of name changes.
More are coming, I gather. More are coming as well, I take it.
Well, yeah, thanks very much. And actually, Provost Hegedus could speak to this just as well as I could, but long and short, the State General Assembly in the last legislative session expanded the grade spans served by different levels, elementary and secondary. And so we historically have included the actual numbers, the grade numbers in the names of our programs. And now we're just changing these to make them more generic so that when and if the legislature readjusts the grade spans covered by elementary or secondary, we won't have to do this again. So it's really just a matter of cleaning it up so that they're more flexible going forward.
Questions or comments from the regents? Okay. If not, can I have a motion to approve MA Teaching 8 programs name change?
So moved.
So moved. Second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion is approved. Do you want to say a few words about the below threshold adapted physical health education, the new graduate certificate?
You're muted.
I'm muted. Thank you.
Yeah.
This program is designed to develop high quality teachers through advancing knowledge and skills necessary to meet educational needs of students with disabilities. It's a 100% online program, and it's designed to prepare licensed teachers for the delivery of appropriate and meaningful pre-K-12 adapted health and physical ed. It does not lead to teaching certificate or to licensure.
Okay. There's some mention in your material about potential federal support for this, which I take it is probably somewhat problematic at the moment.
It's very difficult moment to moment to be able to predict what where we are in terms of funding. So I cannot say on this this particular meeting whether it's available or not. But I certainly am happy to report out once I know more. I'm not aware that it has been discontinued.
So just a general question. How is everyone dealing with the level of uncertainty and disruption that's happening externally right now as you're modifying programs, starting new programs, looking at increased enrollments and all of the other strategic objectives that we have? Is there more of a sense of let's just stick to what we know how to do and do it, and or is there how is it impacting, just the general, I guess, mental health of our faculty and our teaching and our students?
I'd like to just
That
say
question
that
is for all of you. I mean, it's like we're just living in such unprecedented times right now.
Yeah, I personally have lost millions of dollars of grants, and just found out one that was to be funded that the agency had actually changed the name for us, was discontinued yesterday.
These your grants that you have been, you were awarded in the past, I take it.
Yes.
Is that for all? I could offer a comment as well, Regent James. I mean, it's certainly those grants, certainly the opportunities that we were afforded last year as a new HSI gone away. And so we're looking at other avenues such in private funding, but everybody is. So that's one aspect. We really appreciate the communication from the system office as well. That really helps in terms of and communication also with our DEI officers, because that can help reduce some of the uncertainty as well. So day to day in terms of curriculum and safety. Of course, there is it is impacting everyone. I have spoken to some faculty who teach in courses that are focused on racial and social justice, and I've asked them about are the students attending, are they talking, are they engaged? And for those who are regularly engaged, some are never engaged, but the ones who are still seem to be. But I think it's day by day.
Thank you. That's very helpful, Provost Hagedis. Any other comments from the provosts who are here to Regent James' question?
I think Provost Hynek has her hand up.
I do, Regent James. Thank you. So I would also echo my colleagues that obviously I think this is a difficult time for our college and our system. In addition to that, I will say, knowing new programs that have been approved this year, CT State seems to be experiencing a delayed response naturally from the US DOE on the approval of Title IV funding. So programs for us, including the practical nursing program that we were so excited to start, we're still awaiting hearing whether or not the program will be eligible for Title IV funding. So I do think this is something that is impacting all of us. Thank you for the question.
Regent Porth, if I can just add one more thing. Oh, I'm sorry, Regent Porth, go ahead.
No, please go ahead.
I was just going to say that I think that this time obviously is unprecedented, but I really have been reflecting on how much our own personal and professional ethics come in daily to the work that we're doing. And I think that the challenge is there's never been a time where we really don't know how how to be reactive, right? Because there's a danger in being too reactive to the movement at the federal level, because what if we collectively make a decision that is recanted in 5 minutes? And so I think that generally speaking, we're very cyclical. We work with an academic calendar. We have procedures that we follow. And while I'd like to say that we're very nimble, that's not always the truth of the matter. And I struggle on daily about are we forced into spaces of making decisions that could have true lasting impact? So the good thing is in academic affairs, we're very chatty, right? We're talking through all of this with our colleagues, and it's just truly a really, really difficult time. And as long as our conversations keep on happening, I think that we really need to lean on each other for honestly what we're hearing and how we're approaching different things that are changing on a moment's notice.
I can't even imagine the level of stress that this is causing, because again, things change literally within minutes, much less days or months. So I just encourage everyone to continue the path of what you're doing, what we're trying to accomplish, and we will have to collectively figure out responses and solutions when that time comes, that things are, because anything that happens, as we know, can shift 180 degrees from one day to the next. I see Professor Hegedus has your hand up as well.
Thank you. Just one more thing that came to mind, and building on Dr. Diamond, stability and communication, that we need to remain stable and enhance, keep that communication going, but people are shattered. I have people in my office who are very down and depressed about it. So that's just the reality. Whatever changes tomorrow, that's the reality of today, and we need to lean into each other and support each other. But I want to raise also from the K-12 perspective, how this is impacting, which will ultimately impact us. I was with our regional superintendents in Western Connecticut last week for lunch, and the director of CAPS, the Connecticut Association of Public School Superintendents, and we had lunch together. And Fran Rabinowitz had just met with Rosa DeLaura, Representative DeLaura, and the amount of impact this will have on Title I funds coming into our schools. It's going to be about a third of that budget potentially being removed coming into Connecticut, which is of the order of, I think, about 150 million potentially. And that will, of course, impact those services that we most need. And, in those special services, special ed. So we already have a shortage of special ed teachers in our schools. That's going to have a repercussive effect on our students and our programs as well that we offer in education. So keep that in mind. It is the sort of the reality space. If those funds get cut, there's still a lot of federal funding coming into the state, into our schools. We will need to see and understand the impact of that going forward for many years to come.
Regent Porth, you were going to say something before.
My question, and I think Tamara has her hand up as well, Ira, but I just want to, I have a question that's sort of a variation on what Juanita just asked. I imagine that some of our students, don't know how many or what proportion, their immigration status is up in the air at this point. There was a reference to students from abroad at the beginning of the meeting. Can anyone comment on how much of an issue that is for our institutions at this point?
That's exactly what I was going to just share, actually, Regent Porth. So I've been meeting with individuals across the system that work with our undocumented students. So our current undocumented students, as well as our incoming. And so there's a team across the system that is looking very closely at that. There has been a decrease in students attending different events because of fear of being even out of their homes. So that has been a concern. But they're working together to work with those students on virtual appointments and various things to get students to have conversations. But there's fear of sharing information. There's fear of coming to open events on our campuses, et cetera. And we can't change that narrative and get them to come to our campuses for fear of departure. They're in mixed families. They are documented and their families are not. So there's a lot of different things going on for many of our students. So there's that issue. The enrollment folks are also hearing from families what's going on with the Department of Ed, release of financial aid funds. That's the other thing going on. So the financial aid folks are meeting regularly about that. And I've been in contact with those leads across the system. So those conversations are continuing to erupt around the state. And then the last thing I kind of wanted to share was I met with our leads at the Connecticut Department of Ed, State Department of Ed, and the counselors at the high school are hearing from parents. They're really concerned about financial aid related to students. So yes, you package my student, but will those funds then ever be released? And that is a concern. Like, are those funds going to actually land on our campuses, and will federal aid, such as subsidized and unsubsidized loans, actually land in my students' portal on the college campus that they select? And that's a fair question from parents across our systems. So our enrollment folks, as they're starting these accepted students days and our receptions, they're going to have a lot of these questions, I think, coming from our families. And so we've been having discussions with our enrollment folks about those at our council meetings, and they've been kind of planning for our campus visit days. But there's a lot of unknowns, and we don't have the answers to all those things because every day, as Dr. Diamond said, things are changing. We're trying to give as much guidance as we can, but we don't know if that is going to happen or if there's going to be any blockages in that money dropping. But as far as our undocumented students, we have a team working. We have group meets biweekly right now. We have resources. We have several virtual programming happening for faculty and staff across the system where it's a safe venue where staff and faculty can come and learn how to protect students and their families across the system. We've been offering those in pockets where staff and faculty can sign up in a safe way to learn about protecting students' rights. And we've been offering those in pockets across the system. So that's been happening too. So I just wanted everybody to know that information.
Thank you.
Yeah. And I think the chancellor is embarking on a discussion at several of the campuses on this issue in the forthcoming
There's
weeks.
town halls coming with our general counsel and our compliance office to talk to each campus individually, and those town halls are coming shortly.
Yeah, I think one that starts this coming week, if in fact. Okay. Any further comment? I think we've, what was Erwin? I think we've completed your adventures on. I think we've approved what we needed to approve for Southern. So, thank you.
I just wanted to add, apologies for interrupting. Provost Irwin did add some additional information about the communication disorders item in the chat.
Yes.
So if anyone wants to check that out, please do.
Yeah.
Provost Irwin, I appreciate the clarification. I imagine this is an area that's going to require a lot of attention because this whole question of communication disorders is probably relatively. It's to me, it is an issue that's existed for many, many years, but it seems like we're just starting to focus some attention on it. So
Absolutely. And it
thank
has
you for the clarification.
implications. Yeah, excuse me. It has implications for reading and for learning and for academics as well.
Okay. Again, thank you. Thank you, Provost Irwin. Dr. Pauly, we're traveling to Eastern. Provost Pauly, are you here?
Sure, I am. Yes. We don't have any action items for today, though I do anticipate some for next month's meeting. I was not expecting to talk about the question that Regent James asked today, but since the question has come up, I'll just say we had an open forum on our campus last month led by President Ismaili, and of course, things are very uncertain. We're trying to sort of face what's coming at us with our heads up and shoulders squared. As I said at the time, if there were anything contrary to state or federal law, we wouldn't have been doing it anyway. So we are trying to focus on doing what we know to be right for our students. We're a public university. The public includes all sorts of different people, and we expect to serve all of them. And I do not anticipate that changing until I'm carried out on a board. So with that,
let's hope that doesn't happen.
I hope that especially myself, certainly. But as far as I'm concerned, we can't do anything about the uncertainty except keep doing what we know is right and try not to let the uncertainty sway us from that resolute sort of pursuit of our mission. Just wanted to give a couple of updates on the admissions front. Our admissions office folks have reminded me that year-over-year comparisons on deposits are a little bit difficult because of the FAFSA confusion last year. At this time last year, our students didn't have aid packages in hand. So they said that to caution me about getting too excited about the percentage increase in deposits. They said, calm down. But I will say they are up. This does strike me as, this is promising news. I was just looking. Things that are more certain, our transfer applications are up 37% year over year, and acceptance is up 25% year over year. Similarly, our first year applications are up 11% year over year and 13%, and acceptance is up 13%. Possibly more significant than that, though, is I would note that our first year applications are up 3% over where they were at the end of last year. So we have already received more applications than we did through the entire admission season, and our acceptances are up as well. So too early to say exactly where that's going to land, but all signs are good. We had a very successful Admitted Students Day over the weekend. We're a smaller university than Southern, so the number I could give you is not as large as the one that Provost Irwin just shared with us, but it was a very good day. We were packed to capacity in our student center, and heard lots of very, very positive comments. We are continuing to make progress on our interim report for NECHI, which it will be due in August. We had a visit from NECHI VP Laura Gambino back in February, presented work in progress as it stood there, got very encouraging response from her. The first draft of the interim report is now complete. It has been circulating to sort of a small group of stakeholders ahead of release to the entire community for feedback in April. And so we're on track to have a draft of that report to NECHI in May, as they've requested. The other news I would share is that this week we welcomed 2 candidates for the provost position, the permanent provost position, and we will have 2 more candidates, not next week, but the week after that. I think we had open community forums with those candidates. I think we've got a very good pool. I think we're going to have a very whoever we end up with next year, I think we'll be in very good shape. We are skipping a week on provost candidate visits because next week the highlight will be the inauguration of President Ismaili happening on Friday. There will be a faculty symposium the day before, and just general festivities and merriment Thursday and Friday, welcoming. He's only our 7th president, so we don't get to do this that often. So that's the big news for next week. So really looking forward to that. And I expect, as I say, to have some updates for you on academic programs in May.
Thank you.
I'm sure that will be a wonderful celebration, something very much to look forward to. So
I had my robes dry cleaned, especially for the occasion.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Pauly. Last but not least, Connecticut State, Dr. Heineck, we heard from you before. I hope you're still here.
I am still here, Regent Bloom, and thank you for the opportunity to give you an update. Currently, we have 3,919 applications for graduation this year, which is up 13% from last year, which we are very excited about. And for summer conferral, we are up 17%. So that's good news for CT State. We still have our intent to graduate numbers will likely continue to rise as intent to graduate for us. The forms are due in by April 15th, so we still have 11 days and counting to get more graduates across the stage. In addition to that, we are in the process of obviously working very hard to get a commencement schedule ready. It looks like all 12 of our legacy campuses will have their graduations between May 21st and May 27th, just for Regents plannings. In addition to that, we anticipate this weekend, on Sunday, the beginning of our NECHI Focus visit that will last until the 9th of April. And as you guys recall, we have a number of areas of focus that the NECHI site teams will come and evaluate us on. They include our progress with ACME, our progress with dual enrollment, our progress with budget mitigation, our progress on assessment, and our progress related to shared governance. I will certainly report at my next academic update on how that visit goes. In addition to that, enrollment has opened for the fall as of 4/1, so we're very excited for a strong fall semester. And on March 26th. We are very supportive of the fact that CT State Tunxis was able to open our Spring Lane facility, which will provide significant opportunities for access to our state-of-the-art facility in advanced manufacturing. Moving forward, I just want the Regents to be aware that we are also working on 2 programs that will come forward over the course of the fall. They include programming specifically in public health, and this is a partnership with the Department of Public Health. We will be looking at 2 certificates, one in environmental health and one in community public health, as well as an associate degree in public health. And in addition to that, we'll be working on a certificate and an associate degree next year in optics technology. And those are my updates.
Thank you. Comments from the Regents?
Ira, it's Rick. I just want to say that NETCHI visit and the topics that they will particularly focus on are super important. Obviously, I know you know that, but I appreciate you keeping us in the loop in terms of that process. And I for one, I'm sure all of us are real eager to hear how that plays out. You've been through a lot of change at CT State, and this is an important part of the process in making sure that people understand that we're making good progress that I believe is serving our students. So if you could keep us posted on that, I would appreciate it.
Absolutely will, Regent Porth. And we're excited at the opportunity of having teams come to all of our legacy campuses and to hear about the progress from our faculty and staff. So we look forward to a positive report. And as soon as the focus visit is over, we will certainly begin our work on our first self-study that's due in 2027, just in case folks don't know that's the date of our first inaugural self-study.
That's great, thanks. And Ira, can I take just a minute? Because
Please.
I think this is related. At one of our recent meetings, we talked about the need for hopefully more data, more information on certificate programs and certificate completions in addition to degree completion and other related issues. And I just want to say thank you to Tamara and to Ainsley, both of whom provided follow-up research reports and progress reports on going after this kind of information. I still think that our work in terms of certificates, non-degree completion is really important. And I think we can demonstrate our real value once we have good concrete data that we can all feel comfortable with and stand behind. That's an issue. And Tamara also was looking at student services, restoration of student services, student mental health and tutoring, the student survey. And both Tamara and Ainsley have been looking into this question of completion rates and success rates, not only in community colleges, but in the four-year schools. Super important. And so I hope we can stay with that. But I wanted to say thank you today for the work that's already been done. Thanks.
Thank you,
Thank you to our
Regent.
partners who got us that data. So JD Matheson at CT State got us all that data. So thank you to JD for that data, because he pulled all that. We didn't pull that. So just want to say that, and to the team over at CT State for any of that data.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah.
One observation about enrollment patterns. What I've seen over the years and is enrollments in the public universities have gone up when people are anticipating economic difficulties. And there's a pattern that we saw many years many times in my former life. So I think, I don't think it's the enrollment increases are necessarily unexplainable at this point. I think this is what, going back to Regent James' points, parents are concerned about how they're going to pay for college education if the economy if the economy struggles. And I think that's part of what we're seeing. We're seeing an increase in enrollments in the public universities because of some of the uncertainties. And they have several important qualities. The quality is there. It's less expensive and it's closer to home. And I think all of these, in different ways, contribute to what is happening now.
And I think that the data that we're gathering and the information that we are able to report on is going to help us communicate the value of our public institutions, and should help us build more resourceful partnerships with the business community and with funders, because we are really, we have been saying that we are the economic engine for the state of Connecticut, and being able to express that and articulate that in a way that is understood by the larger public is I think an important part of our recognition of our accomplishments and support for our future investments and success. So
Agreed.
I have a final good and welfare item before requesting a motion to adjourn, and that is on behalf of me and of the committee, to thank Pam Helene, who is retiring at the end of this month, for her service and support to the committee over a long period of time. So I'd like that recorded in the record, and express our appreciation to Pam, who has been very supportive and great assistance to me and to the committee over since I become chairman, which is hard to believe, several years now. So thank you, Pam. And any other good and welfare comments before I take a motion to adjourn?
no, just again, a thank you for all of your work and the diligence and the commitment, the effort that we're seeing the results of your very hard work. So thank you.
Yeah, I agree, Juanita. Thanks for saying that.
Motion to adjourn.
So
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? The meeting is officially adjourned, so we can take off the
And for my last time for ASA, your live stream